What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to react to a statement that Kwame Brown made about um, Bronny James, right? And he basically in one of his videos said that there are high school basketball players that are better than Bronny James, right? And with that statement right there, in my opinion, just says it all. It just lets everybody know that Bronny James is no, he's nowhere near ready. Or I don't think it's hard to say what he'll be, but I like he's nowhere near NBA basketball talent. You know, you got high school players, college players, and you have professionals. And he is like he right now. If Bronny James was like, if this year Bronny James, in my opinion, if he was in high school, he might be. I don't know if he'll be top 100. I don't know. I don't because I just don't see. I agree with Kwame. He a high school basketball player. That's what he looked like, you know. And when you talk about the guard position, that point guard, the one and the two, those. I mean, like to be a top point guard in college or even in high school, those guys are a top point guard, man. That is the most, in my opinion, that's the most competitive position in professional basketball, right? In basketball, period. Because most people, like if you're blessed with height, you have an advantage. But point guards, you gotta be able to handle the ball. You gotta know angles. You have to know how to get your shot off against bigger players. Um, point like professional, they just so savvy that you got to be a baller to be a point guard at the professional level. It's just like so much. Like if you're tall, you can get away with not knowing certain things, but a point guard or a two guard, somebody who is under 6'2", trying to play professional basketball, you're man. That's why when you see guys like in the NBA, like Drew Holiday, you see guys like like Rondo playing a professional, Chris Paul playing professional basketball, guys who not like really tall. Like I don't know how tall Rondo is, but Chris Paul probably like about 6 foot, 6'1". Rondo probably a little bit taller than that. I think Sam Cassell was like 6'2". Um, you when you play against those guys, and I played, with Sam Cassell a little bit. These you get to see like how savvy these guys are. Like they know every trick in the book. Chris Paul know every trick in the book. Sam Cassell, man, they can shoot, they can pass, they just know the game on a whole different level. And you can see looking at Bronny James that he is nowhere near like any of those guys, Chris Paul, Sam Cassell, Drew Holiday. Like when you go back and look at like Drew Holiday, some like what he did in high school, like Drew Holiday was a beast in high school. He was a beast in high school. Then you got what's the guy that's at Boston Celtics? The guy Pritchard. Pritchard don't even I don't Pritchard like the kid Pritchard for the Boston Celtics don't even start. But he's another guy that's just man, he bad. He at the to play a point guard, that point guard position at the NBA level, you got to be you got to be the real deal. You can't fake that. You can get a big guy, somebody who's 6'9", 6'8" and above. Those guys might be able to get away with certain things because of their height, they have a larger margin of error. But point guards got to be precise. Point guards can't, they got to be able to handle the ball left hand, right hand. They got to be able to, like I said, you got to know your angles. You got to know how to use your body. You got to be able to get shots off against bigger players. You got to know how to set up your teammates and stuff like that. Man, that point guard position is tough. And for Bronny, I don't know how tall Bronny James is, but I know he not no taller than about 6'1". And nah, he just not that. And Kwame, I'm gonna play the audio where Kwame said that, like Bronny is just not, he not on that. He an NBA. I mean, he's a high school player. And I'm gonna play the audio and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna react some more.
Yeah. He's overly helping, sliding all over the place, don't know what he's doing. And this ain't year one, this is year two. This is year two. This don't make no sense. We got high school players better than Bronny. Absolutely got high school players better than Bronny. Bronny was never the best high school player on his team. He was never the best college player on his team. And he still gets 12 shots in a preseason game where everybody's auditioning.
And that's it. All right. So if you got a guy like Bronny, who wasn't the best high school player on his team, let's even just stay at the high school level. I remember here in Baltimore, right? We had a team back in the 80s, the Dunbar Poets, and they're starting five. Everybody went Division One. That 6 man on that Dunbar Poets team was a guy by the name of Reggie Lewis. Reginald Lewis was the 6 man. Reggie probably was about like 6'7", 6'8". Wind up he went to college, had a successful college career. He went to Northeastern. Yeah, he went to Northeastern College, had a very good college career. Then he got drafted by the Boston Celtics. He was a 6 man, but he wasn't a guard though. He was 6'8". And you just don't. So in order for you to like a second string point guard on a high school team, most of the time, I never heard of a second string point guard getting a D1 scholarship. Because that point guard, like I said, that point guard position is just so mean. It's mean. It's the most competitive position in basketball. That point guard, that 1 and that 2 spot, you just not gonna be able to do it. And Bronny James, man, like I said, on a high school team, his team, he wasn't even the best. Now, if Bronny James, if Bronny James was like 6'7" or something like that, and could do the things he could do now, he would be. There's more margin for error. He'll be able to get a shot off easier because he had a height advantage. And the way he handles the ball, he'll be able to get away with that. He'll have a better chance of being able to get away with that because he got the height advantage. But if you 6'1" and under and can't handle the ball, don't know how to come off picks, you 6'1" and you over penetrate, those 4 or 5 inches that you giving up, like you 6'1" and you playing against somebody who is 6'8", 6'7", who can do what you do better than what you can do it. They all know Bronny is, like in a high school game, like high school guards would eat Bronny's lunch. A really good high school basketball, a point guard, I think an average point guard at the high school level, because Bronny James, if he didn't start in high school, that means that he didn't see a whole lot of minutes. In college, I know he didn't see a lot of minutes because I watched them, right? Well, when you watch some of the games and you saw that Bronny didn't get a whole lot of time. Then he only stayed 1 year. For a point guard to be able to go pro after only 1 year of college, I'm trying to think of what guard was like that. Could just only Derrick Rose, and look at Derrick Rose, like his athleticism, his speed. Derrick Rose know how to use his body. He has a teardrop shot. And I think Derrick Rose is probably about 6'2", 6'3". Let's say 6'2". Man, when you look at, you can definitely see, and it's hard to I don't want it's hard to compare Bronny James to somebody like Derrick Rose, right? Or Rondo or Chris Paul, because these are seasoned vets. But like when they came to the NBA, they could already do anything. Drew Holiday, he could already do everything. It wasn't point guard. You can't have a point guard as a project. You can have a big man as a project, but you can't have a point guard as a project. Point guard's got to hit the ground running. Tony Parker, um, Avery Johnson. You as a point guard, you got to hit the ground running. You got to at least you got to be able to set your big man up. You got to be able to run an offense. And you can come to the league as a point guard and your jumper not be, that tight. But everything else, because point guards, man, and even in today's basketball game, like I remember Avery Johnson, the guy who played for the Spurs back in the day. Like his shot wasn't really all that. His jump shot wasn't as consistent. But over the years, he worked on it because he had Dave Robinson and Tim Duncan and all those guys. So his job basically was to feed them. We don't need you shooting the ball. Same thing with Muggsy Bogues. Like Muggsy Bogues, his shot wasn't as consistent from day one, but Muggsy was so elite at setting people up to get them off. And his defense was elite. Man, that point guard position, man, is personally, in my opinion, it's the best. It's one of the best positions to watch, man, because there's somebody out there playing point guard. They make it look easy. When you go in there and to try to get a shot off against somebody who's 5 inches taller than you, more athletic than you. Allen Iverson, man, look at Allen Iverson. What Allen Iverson? 6'1". They say he's 6'1", but nah, man, you got to be. If you want to get a check for playing in the NBA as a point guard, you got to be, man, your game got to be on point. It got to be tight. To play the 1 or the 2 at the professional level, everybody know that once you get that to that level. The basketball these days is just so watered down, man. It's crazy. And it's even though it's watered down, it's still you still as a point guard can't get away with what they doing with Bronny James. It's just not going to work. And so, I agree 100% with Kwame Brown that Bronny James just a high school player. Like his ability, even his knowledge of the game is on a high school level. His physical ability, and that basically, I'm not even gonna go into his physical ability, but his knowledge of the game is just is on a high school level. He not savvy like that. He might be athletic. He don't know the game like that, man. And for his father to be a professional basketball player, and not really have him know and understand certain things about the game, it's just really, in my opinion, it's just a crime. But Kwame Brown was on point, man, when he said that Bronny James is just a high school basketball player, who had his father's just in a position to make that thing happen for him. But that's my take on it, man. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe. With that being said, I will look forward to your comments, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.